Hey y'all, it's Steve, Hobo with Wood, and in this video, we're gonna tackle laser tags. Hang around, this is gonna be my version of making a laser tag, and I want to introduce you to some friends of mine who've been doing this for a long time, and maybe that's where you need to get yours if you don't have a laser to make your own. So hang around, we're gonna tackle laser tags. Okay, so this is the template that I'm going to share on hobowithwood.com for free. And this is a US standard license plate template. We look at the preview here. There you go. This is off of the state's website, 6x12 with the state's dimensions on the hole placement and hole sizes. So this should fit just about any US standard license plate frame. Now I'm going to have this template available for free on Hobo with Wood, including this little piece right here. That is the indentation, or where it's stamped out of the aluminum in the US license plates. That is a 1/4 inch frame or rib that goes around there. So that toolpath is there so that if you buy any of those thin little license plate frames, this is about what you would expect it to be, so you would kind of keep your designs away from that. Alright, so let's talk about license plates and how I designed them, how I put them together. So this is Eurosport Daytona. Now back in the 80s, or the late 80s, early 90s, I had Steve's Great Plates. That was a little side hustle I had going on, and I purchased a ton of these laser tags from Eurosport Daytona. Now these are made out of acrylic and they have an ABS backing on them, but the detail on these things is really phenomenal. Let's zoom in on this one. Here they've got the little ducks. Those are just pretty sure just cut out in the yellow plastic there, but all of the colors, the little inset, the white inset and the gold shield, you know, there's a lot of pieces to this puzzle to put together, and they're selling these things for only $35. It's a lot of work. But these are my first experience with laser cut anything. And this is where I'm going to emulate the designs that I'm creating, is based off of their techniques. Here you can see their phone number there if you're interested in contacting Eurosport Daytona about any custom license plates. I highly recommend them, some really good people. But I'm needing a license plate for a Datsun 280Z. And at this time, Eurosport Daytona does not have the licensing for the Datsun, either because cost, or Datsun may just not want to sell their licensing at this time. But since this is for a family friend and I'm not going to be selling it, they can come and take the money I got for it, because I ain't getting no money for it. I'm making this myself for personal use. It's not something I'm retailing. But that's the Datsun 280Z logo, and that little black line in there is about 1 millimeter or a little less than 1 millimeter thick of a black inlay. This is only a half-high tag. It's I think, what was it, 4 inches by 12 inches instead of a 6x12. It's only 4 inches. I did that version, and then I did that version. So that's maybe a 1/2 millimeter in that black inset. So these are some really fine detailed pieces, and I'm not going to be able to be hammering these into place like Rich did. So I'm not going to be doing the friction fit. I'm going to show you another method to do this, and another way to adhere all these pieces together, and what to look for when you're not doing the stencil cutouts like this this little inset and that D and the A, those can be really fun when you're trying to keep your pieces together. Alright, so let's jump in here and take a look at what we're going to do. I'm going to do this Hobo wood license plate. Now, Hobo wood, I am Hobo with wood, and what I produce is Hobo wood. And we'll leave that with that. But I'm going to do this in black, not black. I'm going to do this with a royal blue acrylic with a white inlay and then a black ABS plastic reinforcement on the back. So let's take a look at how I'm going to keep my pieces, because all of these little pieces this is going to be cut out, that inset there, and I need that blue to go back in my license plate. So how can you keep from losing those pieces out the bottom of your material into your wasteboard or your fallout through your honeycomb? A couple of ways we can do this. One, you can clean your honeycomb out really, really well. Make sure there's nothing down there. And then when they fall through, you just pick it up and put them back in place. Or we're going to use tabs. I'm going to put tabs or a tab on every one of these pieces that are going to fall out. There in the letters, and then right there in the logo, that's going to fall out. I need that. So I'm going to put tabs in place. So let me get my tabs out here and position them where I want them to be, and I'll show you that. Okay, so everything is selected. I'm going to make sure it's all ungrouped. I'm going to come over here and get my tabs menu selected there. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to set up or add a tab. Want to make sure that it's not in too fragile of an area. I'm going to put one tab right there. We're going to put one tab right there. Same thing on all of these. Just put one right there. Here, 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 and here. And I'm pretty sure that's all of the loose pieces. That's not attached. Now I could attach that there, welded up. But I'm going to try and keep this as dainty and as fragile as possible. And that looks like all of them. All right, now. Say, go back there. Now I need to actually put that on a cut path. Now I'm going to look at my tabs and bridges here in my setup. I want to do a tab size. Let's put this in metric. Metric, tab size. I'm going to try to do just 1/4 of a millimeter tab size and see if that's not enough to hold that in place. All right, tab size 1/4 of a millimeter, and I'm not doing but one per piece, so that's good. I'm ready to cut that out. So this is the 3M 468 MP, I guess multi-purpose adhesive. They call this a transfer tape, but it is a double-sided adhesive, and I've not seen a transfer tape actually double-sided before. Usually you just have one adhesive side that you can kind of semi-transfer vinyl from one place to another, and then you remove it for transfer tape. But this is double-sided adhesive, and they're calling it an adhesive transfer tape. But it does not work like a transfer tape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this entire 12 by 12 sheet to one side of this, the smooth side of this ABS, then place that on my work bed and cut out two 6 by 12 backing plates for my license plates. So let's get this stuck on here and get to the laser bed. So one side of that is just a wax paper. Peeled that off, exposing one side of the adhesive. Applied it here and got 98% of the air bubbles out. I'll go put this face down on the laser bed and cut out my blanks, and we will start assembly. Okay, so here we have the makings of two license plates. And this is one advantage, or the biggest advantage, of not messing with the kerf. By using the same kerf settings that I cut out for my positive, that I cut out for the negative, they actually can make a reverse. I'm just going to use the exact same pieces, taking the ivory cutout, inserting it into the royal blue, taking the royal blue cutouts, inserting it into the ivory. And we'll create two license plates. If I were to have changed the kerf to make this a tighter fit, with the ivory being a little bit larger, a larger kerf, then I wouldn't be able to use the cutouts from the blue in the ivory. So yeah, you don't get as tight of a fit, but when it's on the front of a vehicle going down the road at 50 miles an hour, you're not going to see that little bitty gap. And this doesn't create any waste, and you can create two products at the same time. So this is just the ABS with that 3M transfer tape. It's been laser cut. It's ready to peel this off, adhere these two together. That will leave that exposed, and then I'll inlay my pieces like a puzzle. So let's get to making our first piece here. I'm going to remove this paper. Where's my dental tool? Got it. This is going to be fun.
This old man, he played one. He played knick-knack on my thumb with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played two. He played knick-knack on my shoe with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played three. He played knick-knack on my knee with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played four. He played knick-knack on my door with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played five. He played knick-knack on my hive with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a 7, he played knick-knack up in heaven with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played 8, he played knick-knack on my gate with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played 9, he played knick-knack on my spine with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played 10, he played knick-knack once again with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. This old man came rolling home.
All right, there's my 2 completed laser tags. Acrylic and ABS. Did not change the kerf. And just assembled with a 3M double-sided transfer tape. And even up close, it fits well. You can't see any gap from here. From 3 feet away, you don't see any gap. It's there, but it's minute. And on the front of the car, going down the highway, you're never going to see it. And being as fine of a piece as those are, you never could have forced those into place. So overall, I'm happy with that. I forgot to weed the back of that. Now that's one thing I probably would do different next time. I would pre-weed, because that was tedious. The ivory, it actually weeded a whole lot easier than that blue. The royal blue seemed to maybe have gotten either hot or wet or both. It just did not want to, the weeding material did not want to release. The ivory cleaned up pretty good. But overall, I'm happy with the outcome. But it's not something I'd want to do every day. That's tedious work. So
$40 a piece at Eurosport Daytona. That's cheap. Definitely want to give those guys a shout if you want to look at getting a laser tag. If you don't have this ability yourself, or if you want to get one so you can see firsthand how those are assembled and the difference between with that ABS backing on there, man, that is a solid plate, and that's just that's a solid plate. It's a nice plate. So hope you enjoyed this. I worked my butt off. See you in the next video.